Well, hey there, beautiful friends and family. Before we begin today's conversation, I want to take just a moment to celebrate something special. This is episode 52, which means we've been spending meaningful moments together for an entire year. When I recorded that very first episode, I had no idea where this journey would lead. I simply knew that I wanted to have a conversation. Conversations about self-trust, self-acceptance, energy, and what it means to live a life that's true to who you are. Whether you've been here since episode 1 or today is the very first time we've met, I want to thank you for allowing me to be a small part of your journey. It's truly been an honor. This episode is about embodiment. It's about recognizing that long before we speak, explain, persuade, or prove ourselves, we're already communicating. And the message we are communicating is often rooted in our energy. Welcome back to Meaningful Moments with Mai. And this is a space where we get to realign, recalibrate, and reconnect with what truly matters so that you can create a life that feels more meaningful, more intentional, and more aligned with who you truly are. And I'm your hostess, Mai Calev. And I'm so happy and grateful that you're here with me today. So today we arrive at the final episode of our Invisible Influence series. And over the past several weeks, we've explored the energy we carry, our personal energy field, energetic boundaries, and learning to trust what we feel. And today we're going to bring it all together because whether we realize it or not, our energy often speaks before we do. Long before words are exchanged, long before introductions are made, and long before we explain ourselves, people often sense something. And perhaps more importantly, we sense something too. Today we're exploring the messages beyond words and what it means to live in energetic alignment. Let's dive in. Have you ever felt it? Have you ever met someone and immediately felt safe? Not because of what they said, but because of how they felt? Or perhaps you've met someone who seemed polished and successful, but something felt off? You couldn't explain it, you just noticed it. Most of us have had these experiences. We often call it a vibe, a feeling, a presence, an impression. And whatever language we use, we're describing something that goes beyond words. And while we can't always explain it, we often recognize it. And one of my favorite ways to think about energy is this. Presence is energy in motion. It's not about charisma. It's not about the loudest person in the room. It's not about having all the answers. Presence comes from congruence. When what you think, what you feel, what you believe, and how you show up are aligned. People feel it. You feel it. Presence is authenticity made visible. And here's why authenticity feels so powerful. Think about the people you're naturally drawn to. Most likely it isn't because they're perfect, because none of us are really. It's because they're genuine. Authenticity creates trust. Authenticity creates connection. Authenticity creates safety. When someone is comfortable being themselves, it often gives others permission to do the same. And that's why all the work we've been doing matters. Because the more self-aware, self-accepting, and self-trusting you become, the more aligned your energy becomes too. So, what does it look like when our energy and our words don't match? Sometimes like we'll say one thing and feel another. We say, oh, I'm fine when we're really hurting. Or we say it's okay when it's not. We say yes when we really want to say no. Most of us have done that at some point or another. But here's the thing. People often feel the mismatch. And so do we. This is what I call energetic incongruence. It's the gap between where our truth and our expression lives. The wider the gap becomes, the more draining life tends to feel. Alignment creates peace. And one of the greatest gifts you can give yourself is alignment. Alignment doesn't mean everything in your life is perfect. It means you're being honest with yourself. It means your actions reflect your values. It means your choices reflect your truth. It means you're no longer living primarily for approval. Alignment creates peace because you're no longer fighting with yourself. And when you're no longer fighting with yourself, your energy changes naturally. What messages are you sending? This isn't about judgment. It's about awareness. Ask yourself, when I enter a room, what energy am I bringing? When I speak, does my energy support my words? Am I showing up from fear or from trust? Am I operating from pressure or from alignment? These questions aren't meant to create self-criticism. They're invitations to greater self-awareness. Your energy is your responsibility. We're all responsible for our own energy. So, one of the most empowering truths I've learned is this: you cannot control other people's energy. You cannot control their reactions. You cannot control their opinions, but you can take responsibility for your own. You can choose awareness, honesty, integrity, self-care, boundaries, alignment, presence. And over time, those choices create a different experience of life. So as we conclude this final part of the series, I want to offer a beautiful possibility. What if the goal isn't simply to protect your energy? What if the goal is to become deeply connected to yourself, to become someone who feels like home to you, someone who trusts themselves, honors themselves, listens to themselves, and shows up authentically in the world, perfectly imperfect? Because when you feel at home within yourself, your energy reflects it. And that creates a ripple effect in every relationship, every conversation, and every experience. So let's take a moment for reflection here. Take a deep, slow, deep grounding breath with me in through your nose and exhale slowly through your mouth like you're blowing out of a straw like this. Place your hand over your heart and gently ask yourself, what energy am I bringing into my life right now? Where am I aligned? Where am I out of alignment? What truth wants to be expressed through me? What would it look like to show up more authentically? And perhaps most importantly, how can I become someone who feels more like home to me? Just listen. There's no fixing. There's no judgment, only awareness. And as we come to a close with this final episode of the Invisible Influence series, I want to remind you of something. Your energy is not something you have to perfect. It's something you learn to understand. And the more connected you become to yourself, the more naturally your energy aligns with who you truly are. And when that happens, something beautiful occurs. You stop performing, you stop pretending, you stop seeking so much validation outside of yourself, and you begin living from a place of authenticity, trust, and presence. Thank you for spending these meaningful moments with me throughout this series. And if this episode resonated with you, please like and subscribe to my channel. And don't forget to share it with others. It helps me grow and others to grow too. So I've also created a companion guide to this episode, the Energy Alignment Practice. And it's a guide designed to help you bring greater awareness, authenticity, and alignment into your daily life. You can download it using the link in the show notes. And if you're ready to explore these concepts more deeply and create lasting transformation, I'd be honored to support you. You'll find information about my coaching and upcoming programs in the show notes as well. So until next time, remember to realign with your truth, to recalibrate with what matters most to you, and reconnect with yourself, because a meaningful life begins within. Bye for now.